relationship with Tommy McIntosh was very important to not only you going to prison, but you getting out of prison. And we talked a little bit earlier about an incident on how he got out of prison. And I remember that time very well because not only did I interview Tommy when he came out of prison, but I interviewed Jerry Jewell and exactly what happened during that time, because your case was very important in the state and it involved some high officials. We're going to talk about who in a moment. But I want you to clear up for us what you think really happened. For us, what we remember that President Clinton was running for an office, so he left that position as governor of the state, which then put Jim Guy Tucker, who became governor. Now, as Jim Guy Tucker was governor, if Jim Guy Tucker would leave the state, there was another position, and that was Senate Pro Tem. That position would become governor. For the inauguration, when it was time for Clinton to be inaugurated for president, Jim Guy Tucker left the state to go to the inauguration. That left that position open for that Senate Pro Tem person. That person was Dr. Jerry Jewell, an African-American in the community who knew very well the McIntosh family, who knew you as well. So here goes, he sits in that position only for a couple of days, but while he's there, he takes the file of Tommy. He said that file was on his desk. He took that file and he allowed Tommy to come out of prison along with some other people.
Yeah.
You were not a part of that coming out, neither was Charles. But you said that your files should have been on his desk as well, that they should have been taken by Jewell to let all three of you out,
yes,
but they weren't.
Right.
How do you know your files should have been a part of that?
Well, the whole process was that if you go back and look at the historical transcript, he said that he was looking at some others. And then also when Governor Tucker, this is on the legal document concerning his trial, because as you know, Governor Tucker was charged with mail fraud later on, and Charles was actually associated with it through his wife being a juror. And this is all irony and ironic. But what happened was that I think that it was an option to release us, but Tommy was going to be released without a doubt. That was the setup. And see, a lot of people don't understand Southern or Arkansas politics. You had an individual by the name of Steve Clark. He was the Attorney General. It is ironic that he was supposed to run against Bill Clinton as going for governor, and he told them that he was running, and it's ironic that he was then arrested for misuse of a state credit card. So that set Bill Clinton up to be governor on the Democratic ticket as far as running for governor again. So he of course won, and that set him up for being eligible to run for president as well. So when Clinton was receiving a lot of flack from Say, because Say was saying that this young boy was Bill Clinton's son. So I think that behind the scene, they made a deal. Now, nobody can tell you the deal that they made because nobody is going to say it. Jerry Jewell is gone. Say is not going to come and say it outright.
Well, he does say, though. Say does say that he made a deal with Bill Clinton.
But do we have to believe Say? So I'm saying that there's nothing on record. And if he was that devious for his son and not his nephew, because Charles is his sister's son. If he didn't make the deal for his sister's son along with his son, then I think that that was not right. So that's why I'm saying I don't know how this went down, because I never have gotten the real information. Like, it's been mentioned the same thing that you said about Say, but I asked the question once again, how did he not get Charles out? Don't worry about Maurice, but get your nephew out. And that's why I say that, yes, that there was an attitude about getting Tommy out more so than us. Although I think that we were on the table, because if you go back and look at the transcript, Governor Tucker, he told this person. Now the reason why I don't mention her name, because it's in the transcript. I don't want to mention the name because that's her business. That's what she did. She chose to follow the orders. She grabbed Charles's transcript or file and my file so that Mr. Jewell would not have access to it. Now I don't know why he didn't have access to it at the same time he had access to the other files that he released with Tommy. So that's kind of like water under a bridge, although we deal with it. But I want the people to know that politics was surrounding our conviction and Tommy's release. So I will go along with the fact that it happened, but I just don't know what specific. And I'm a specific type of guy when it comes down to that. Just like I know that Steve Clark was going to run for governor, and he was charged with misuse of a state credit card. So that lets you know that that's politics. Because how could you be in office all that time, and then all of a sudden when you get ready to charge and want to run against this guy, then it comes up that you misusing your state credit card.
Well, I have to say this because, this is a major story that I covered, extensively as it was going on. And if you're going to deduct some things, you can say, as Say told me personally, that he did make the deal with Clinton so that he would be quiet during the election. And if you look back on the records, and I have video of Say being out on the campaign trail causing trouble, and then all of a sudden Say disappeared. He was quiet for from that time on, he was quiet until the inauguration, when his son was let out of prison, and then it was all open. So there's a lot of questions about how it all happened, and that's something that I've been working on a project, as you know, and looking at your book as well. We've been writing the book of the life story of Tommy McIntosh, and so I've got a lot of that history and a lot of those facts that are coming forward in that book.
Right.
But going back to that relationship between you and Tommy and all that happened, this is not a tell-all book that you have here, but you do tell all, because not only is Bill Clinton involved, Jim Guy Tucker's involved, but there are some additional politicians around the state who were very involved in trying to make things happen and go away as it related to your case, and you talk about that in the book as well.
Right, and it's a lot of players, like you say, some will be mentioned by name and some will not be mentioned, and it's like the acting attorney general, which is my prosecutor, who replaced Steve Clark for that short period of time for the remainder of his tenure as the attorney general, and his name is Ron Fields. And Ron Fields, ironically, worked with Asa Hutchinson, with the Homeland Security, as well as the DEA, and for some reason he was sent back because of a security issue, meaning Ron Fields, and also as he returned, he wasn't arrested, but it was a suspicion that he had committed a rape of his daughter, or stepdaughter, excuse me. His stepdaughter was his wife's daughter, and he allegedly raped her, but they sent the case from Fort Smith without having arrested him. They sent the case from Fort Smith down to Little Rock or Pulaski County, and the prosecuting attorney decided that although there was something that went on, he decided that she, being a mentally disturbed young lady, could not take the stand and give effective prosecution. But that's not how we work as far as a justice or a criminal system. We went to trial. Steve Clark went to trial. Everybody goes to trial except the prosecutor. So that lets me know that there is deep-rooted politics in Arkansas, and they do what they do for their purposes. And just like you stated earlier, yes, I've heard the story that say went on and out on a limb for Tommy, but I'm saying at the same time that was a statement that he made, but he's made statements before. Like he made a statement that he could get us out when we were in the county jail, but he wanted money.